Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of At the Movies with William Fletcher. As per usual, I am your host, William Fletcher, and I am joined this week, as I have been joined many times in the past, by Mr. Schuyler.
Hello.
And you are joining me here again for the annual Oscars special that I do. I've done one of these every year since I started doing the podcast. With the 2021 Oscars for the films of 2020/2021, because it was a weird time then, it was a weird time when movies just didn't come out. And then I've done one every year since then. So we're gonna keep the tradition going because I haven't missed a year yet. And it's interesting to look at like the Best Picture nominees, I think, just to look at what the Academy is trying to present themselves as. Because that's how I sort of look at the Oscars, is what is the Academy trying to say about things in the current time. There's 10 films we're going to talk about today, but I am going to be honest, I will have less to say about some of these films than some of these other ones. I will be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I overall, I think this is a mostly very good lineup. And I say mostly because there's one just massive tumor just like embedded right in there.
I do think it's overall a very strong lineup. I do feel a bit jilted by the fact that the the one film we are alluding to over and over again snuck in over like any other option that would have been far more interesting.
Yeah, it was just an accident. Would have been
even weapons would have been way more fun.
Was also Weapons, very, very good film. Weapons, one of my favorites of last year. It was just an accident, also one of my favorites of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Anything like would have been better than the film that we got.
Yeah.
I
think it is still a really good lineup overall. Definitely one that I'm more passionate about than last year's. And like even the worst film on this year's lineup is still like, is it worse than the worst last year? No, most likely not.
No, it's definitely better than like Emilia Perez, And also, as is the case every year, there are so many controversies that pop up around these films, and I'm just gonna be honest, 90% of them are dumb. They're stupid. Okay, let's not everyone's going on about the Timothy Chalamet stuff where he's talking about ballet and opera, and I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, that's nothing. That is a nothing. But look, I get like what he's saying. Like he's making a point that I think is fair. He's not going about it in like the best way. Like if you actually listen to like the full context of what he said, because that's the thing is people are taking like the quote, like the one quote, out of context, and I'm not a fan of the guy. I'm not. I don't think he's. We'll get into this with Marty Supreme, but I'm not like a big fan of the guy. But like, this is the point he's making isn't invalid in the sense of like, people don't go to the opera and theater as much. Not a. I don't know if dying I'd quite say is the word, but like, how many people do you know who go to the opera now? Like, it's not. And also, it's fucking expensive to go. It is expensive to go to the opera. So that's like part of the problem too, is this the prices. I saw a comment on a thing where someone's like, oh, I would go to the opera more if, I had the money to do so. And I'm like, that's the fucking point. It's too expensive to go. That's why people don't go as much. And it's the same thing with movies. Movies are getting more and more expensive to go to see. And that's a problem because people are going to eventually stop going to movies. And that's not good because we don't just want streaming only movies getting made, because those are not good. The Timothy Chalamet stuff, it's stupid. It's nothing to be upset over. And also, we'll get into this with Sinners, but like Michael B. Jordan, he's more problematic. I'm just gonna be straight up honest here. He's more problematic. He supports Jonathan Majors, okay? Like let's not forget about that, okay? He supports Jonathan Majors. I'm not forgetting that. Like I will, like, it is a problem. we'll get into these controversies. I say that in quotations because 90, like the only one I can think of that is valid is the Josh Safdie stuff.
Yeah,
Like
that is bad. Yeah.
that is very bad. And that's the only one that I can think of where I'm like, yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But also like, and not to take away from what happened, obviously, but like it's only being brought up again because he's been Oscar nominated. Like that's why that happens. It happens every year. You know, someone gets nominated, they get a lot of awards attention, and that's when the controversies get brought up again. And not that
I
it's
do
not
think
good to bring up, but it almost is just like, is this being done in good faith, or is this just being
right,
done because of the awards stuff? You know,
right. Yeah.
which is it's a very
I
cynical way to look at it, but it's just the timing
yeah.
is you know just
Yeah.
how
I mean,
everyone.
obviously the Josh Safdie stuff is really bad, but like beyond outside of that, I feel like there's a trend online this year of like I feel like after last year's like historically toxic Oscar season, it's like
Last year,
everyone's just
yeah,
like looking for something to like
yeah,
stir up.
and I'm like, comparatively to last year, most of these like bar the Josh Safdie stuff, this is so
It's
tame.
yeah,
This is
it's very
so tame.
minor stuff.
Like
Yeah.
we don't have a Carla Sofia Gascon this year.
Yeah. Of
We
course,
don't.
Jesse Buckley is evil for saying anything bad about cats, but
So I like to do. If you remember last year, Skylar, I did
hmm
a different way. It's because going alphabetically, it's just a bit boring. It's just a bit like it's a bit clinical, you know. Um, and so last year, if I remember correctly, did we go by box office gross?
I think yeah, I think we did lowest to highest grossing movie. I think
Yeah. And then in the years past, I've gone by like the IMDb user rating. This year, I put up I did a ranking of all 10 of the films, and I on Letterboxd, and I have now ordered it from release order. So we're going to go
Mhm.
from the one that was released first, the one that was released last, and just looking at the lineup based on like release order, it's actually a pretty solid running order we've got here. So I'm gonna stick with that. Um,
Perfect.
there are a couple of these films that I'm not going to have a whole lot to say on because I don't really remember them that much, um, or because I saw them months ago, and I don't rewatch films that much. So, but the first film on here is Train Dreams, which is the one of the ones I don't have a whole lot to say on because I don't remember much about it. Um, I think I mean, it's very like this is a film that would not have been nominated in a year of five. I think this film would
No.
have honestly looking at what I think would have been nominated for Best Picture. I honestly think the five nominees would have been the director five.
Yeah,
If there was still
yeah.
25, I think that would have been the five they would nominate. Which would also make this an even stronger lineup, honestly. But anyway, that's fine. But yeah, Train Dreams. I look. I don't really have much to say on it. I remember it was a very well shot film. Um, it's written by Greg Quaidar. Is that how you pronounce that name?
Gre I don't know. Queedar?
Yeah. Who wrote Sing Sing last year? Was not a big fan of Sing Sing, if I'm being honest here.
I thought it was cute, but yeah, it's like it was a nice charming movie, but very like what you'd expect of like an indie movie that's like trying to get you in the feels a little bit and be
Yeah, but
about the power of
also
art.
but there was also the beloved bit,
Yeah,
which
there's some
which is
cheesy elements.
and I'm just like, man, a white guy really did write this film, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I really don't have much to say about Train Dreams, to be honest. I think it's just such a like it was I didn't have a problem watching it, and it's like an hour 40, I think, which like is
hmm
great because I'm so used to Oscar nominated films being 2.5 hours and being just the most like the longest films you've ever seen in your life. But I just don't. It doesn't. This is not a particularly impressive film either. Like it doesn't. There's nothing about it where I'm like, oh yeah, this is the kind of thing I'd recommend to someone, or I'd be like, oh, I want to watch that again. You know, it doesn't. It
Mhm.
left no impact on me. It was just a film.
Yeah, I think Train Dreams, I don't mind its presence here. Um,
I mean,
like,
it's
it's
not the
nice
worst
to
film nominated,
no,
so
definitely not. It's like, it's nice that a film like this could get in, I suppose. Like, I was like, most people were not entertaining this seriously until very late into the year.
mm,
And it's
yeah.
like, that's nice, and I think it is really pretty to look at. I like Joel Edgerton in it quite a bit, and it is like it's a nice movie with, like, nice observations on, like,
Mm,
being alive and going
mm,
through grief, but it also isn't incredible. It very much, because it's based on a novella, and it very much
mm,
feels novella-esque in that they're, like, stretching out a very simple story
mm,
into, like, a whole movie, and then it becomes, like, kind of repetitive comments about, like, how to
mm.
how people get through grief and how people find
Yeah.
meaning in life when
I
it's so,
mean, yeah,
and it's very, like,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, we get it, like, it's not anything super surprising thematically, and the
no.
narration kind of annoys me.
Mm.
Like,
I think
I feel like if you're
narration is
yeah,
very bit of a crutch sometimes.
yeah, I feel like if you wanna go for a more simplistic story with, like, simplistic observations, that's fine, but it almost serves you better to leave out the narration and kind of just have a lot of silence and, like, imply what you're meaning,
Mm,
and then it's like, but then if you feel the need to fill the silence with, like, narration explaining the intention of everything, then it's,
mm.
like, compensating for
It's bad writing to like to use um like
yeah,
to
just
use
have, like,
narration to tell a story is I like arguably it's bad writing, I would say.
there are definitely good ways to use
Yeah,
narration,
it,
but
it
in
definitely
this case,
has yeah,
it's
a place, but
yeah,
like something like
there
Blade Runner, for example, it just
mhm.
uses narration because the movie doesn't make any sense.
There's
Um,
creative ways to use narration for sure, but this is just, like, speaking the themes to you,
mm,
and what otherwise would be like, it's like going for, like, Malick, but it doesn't
mm,
really capture that completely transcendent quality,
mm,
and then other like, if you stripped away all the narration, then it'd be closer to, like, a Kelly Reichardt film, which would be much better. So then it's like, what are we
mm,
doing with this narration? But it is like it's a nice movie, very pretty to look at, and, like,
mm,
it ends and you're like, "Oh, that was sweet and
mm.
sad."
Yeah, but also it is a film where nothing really happens. I think if I watched it, because I watched this before it was Oscar nominated, if I watch this, no, like with it being a Best Picture nominee, I'd probably like it less, just because I'm like, there's
That's
nothing to
true.
it. But I mean, I didn't hate watching it. I mean, I yeah, but I don't really have anything to say on it. I give it a 7 out of 10 because
Yeah, I
it,
gave it a 7 as well, yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's just kind of the default score for me. 'Cause, yeah, it's not bad by any means. I just don't feel a need to ever go back to it ever again.
Yeah.
But we move on to Sinners. Now I've already talked about this in the review of the year episode I did, so I probably don't have to say much because I feel like I sort of said everything I wanted to say then. I just want to say the discourse about this film is so fucking irritating. I really look, everyone acts like it's the greatest thing to ever be made. It's the greatest, thing since sliced bread. It's masterpiece, film of the decade, yada yada yada, all that. And I'm like, it's not the best film nominated this year, guys. Like,
Mhm.
and look, I Look, I've seen this movie twice, and I don't do that. I don't watch movies twice. I watch a movie and then I leave it for 10 years because I don't need to see it again. But there was something about this that made me want to watch it again, and I did like it more on a rewatch. I still think it is flawed. The third act is not that great, honestly. Like the first two acts, perfect, 10 out of 10 filmmaking, like genuinely, and I stand by this. Phenomenal, outstanding filmmaking. And then the third act is just not as good. like and like look, it's I know people say this and it's yes, it's reductive to say this, but also I do prefer From Dusk Till Dawn. I'm sorry. Um but I just think there's so much about this film where people say if this doesn't win Best Picture, it's racism. The Academy's racist, and I'm like, no, no, that's not. That's a very reductive, simplistic way of looking at it. This film broke nominations record. It is the most nominated film in Oscars history. Like, it's still going to win a bunch of awards. Like, just because it doesn't win Best Picture doesn't mean the Academy is racist. Especially since they expanded the Academy, so there's now like younger people who will probably vote for a film like Sinners. Like to say it's just because of racism is very reductive. It's very simplistic. It doesn't take into account the nuances of it all. And it's like it's frustrating to talk about because if you criticize, depending who you talk to, if you criticize this movie, people will say XYZ. And it's not a very helpful way to discuss films to make this argument that if you don't like it, you're a racist. I'm not saying that's what everyone's saying. I think it's a very loud group of people online, which is the case for everything, honestly. And I know some people are starting to predict it to win Best Picture because of the SAG Awards. I think that's foolish. I think that's very reactionary, frankly. I don't like it. Look, I wasn't surprised it won SAG Ensemble. I wasn't surprised. That does not surprise me, like, at all. Like, if Sinners had won literally anything else, if it had won PGA or BAFTA or literally anything else, I'd be like, yeah, that could actually happen now. But it hasn't. It's won SAG Ensemble, and that's like, did people not think that was gonna happen? Like, it just seemed kind of obvious to me. So I think that the discourse around it is annoying, and we also should mention the BAFTA situation, which I don't think we've talked about this, but I've talked to other people about it, and it's very unfortunate. It was a very unfortunate thing. I do not blame any John Davidson. I don't blame him. You can't control Tourette's. I blame BAFTA and the BBC for allowing that to air, as they had the 2-hour delay, I think it was, so they could edit out the Free Palestine stuff. They just happened to miss the N word. But I mean, that is, it's unfortunate, and I think there's I mean, where do you stand on that? Because I've just been rambling for a few minutes now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very unfortunate thing that occurred. Definitely, all the blame falls onto BBC and BAFTA in failing to try to prevent something like that from happening to the extent they could, and then to fail to edit it out, even though they were editing out like good things from the broadcast, as we mentioned. So it's like, all the blame goes to BBC for how they handled that, and obviously, the individual is not at fault for having Tourette's.
No,
And
there was,
it's undoubtedly like it's very understandable why Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were very off put by the
Yes,
situation.
look. I think personally, from my perspective, he should apologize. I was talking to some people and they said John Davidson, he doesn't need to apologize, and I'm like, he does. I know he can't control it, but also he said the most heinous, hateful word in the English language.
Hmm.
Like, he should apologize. I was talking to some people that are like, oh well, he didn't do it. Like, he doesn't have to apologize, whatever. I'm like, he does though. Like, whether he meant it or not, which I don't believe he did, despite what Jamie Foxx says, like I fucking like Jamie Foxx was look, it was a very reactionary response from people. And in the moment, I get it. I get why people were initially upset by it. Like I do get it. I
Hmm.
totally get it. It's a terrible thing to hear. But people needed to take a moment to be like, well, take a moment and
Hmm.
and you know, and in the moment, I get it, but like to say he meant that when it's like no, and people were like, oh, how does he know that word? And I'm like, the entire genre of rap music for like ever since that has existed, every Quentin Tarantino movie that has ever existed. Like, it's very easy to know that word. You just, you don't say it. Like it's completely
Hmm.
believable he knows that word, like I don't, I look, I don't think he's a bad guy, you know. Um,
No, and I
you know,
do think he, if I'm not mistaken, he came out and made a statement like a couple days
yeah,
after
he
and
made a
said
statement. Yeah,
I don't that's the farthest thing from what I believe.
yeah.
It's
And he
my
also, from
disease
my
disorder.
understanding, spoke to Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan in like private, um, which is good. I think and
A very
um,
unfortunate situation, but made worse by, I would say, especially by like just random people on the internet, like
yeah,
clearly not understanding Tourette's and like speaking about
yeah.
like, well, why would you say that if you didn't hold that belief?
It's like
And like that's not how it works.
yeah. And if I recall correctly, I believe he yelled slurs at Alan Cumming as well. Like if I remember reading correctly, I believe he yelled stuff at Alan Cumming as well. So
Yeah, I
it's
think
like,
so.
and it's like, look, I know the word. I don't use the word, but I'm aware of it. And like, like over the age of like, once you're in like your late teens, you probably know that word. Like, it's not, like people know the word. So just yeah, to
Yeah.
say it doesn't. How does he know that word if he doesn't think that way? It's like everyone, like just because you know a word exists doesn't mean you use it. Like there's words that are not acceptable to use anymore. Certain slurs can't use them anymore, but they exist. So I think it's a whole thing, and I think people are blowing something out of proportion. And like, look, like I am saying this as like a white guy, so I'm coming from a place of it's not like a word that offends me in the sense of like it's not a derogatory term said about me and like people like me. Um, but I think there's a nuance that people aren't looking at, and I think people want to look at things in a very black and white way, and I think that is a problem nowadays. I think a lot of people want things to be like some people just want things to be black and white, and that's often not the reality. Um, so I just figured we should just talk about that because it's a
Mhm.
massive elephant in the room. Um, but I mean, Sinners, yeah, I like Sinners. I think it's good. I mean, I've already talked about it, but I do think it is overrated. Personally, I saw it like a couple weeks after it come out, so I had all the hype, and I wasn't like I thought it was good. I just didn't love it, and then I did rewatch it, and I liked it a lot more. I still think there are problems with it. I think the third act does really drag the film down for me, and that's sort of and that
Hmm.
holds it back. Is I think not that it's bad, it's just like the film does such a great job of building up to that third act that when the third
Hmm.
act happens, it just doesn't work as well as it should. And there's also like 7 different endings. I'm not a fan of that because none of them are like that amazing, honestly.
Yeah, I would say I do love Sinners quite a lot. And I understand all the passion for it, and happy for all the fans. And obviously, I am I am a fan. Um, it's not my like personal top favorite in the lineup, but
Mm,
there's definitely quite a lot to love about it. And it is one that, for the most part, I've seen it 3 times, and like the second time was definitely an improvement on the first, and then the third, I don't know if it was an improvement on the second, but like I kind of like there was a gap like of multiple months between my second and third watch, and then
mm,
like I kind of reappreciated it and also found some more nuances with how it was told. Definitely extremely well directed, and I love how the ensemble is used, and it
mm,
is just a really intelligent film and how it
mm,
creates commentary on
mm,
race and culture, with the horror element. And
mm.
of course, everyone talks about like the "I lied to you" sequence. Amazing, of
Yeah.
course.
It's
Um,
it is a good sequence. I don't know if it's like my favorite sequence in the film, or even like my favorite sequence of like it's not like it's my favorite scene of the year, and I know it is for a lot of
mhm.
people, but it's yeah, I do. Yeah, I like the film. There's a lot to appreciate about it. I'm just looking at your reviews, and you said wore my Twilight shirt to the Sinners rewatch.
Oh yes.
What's the
And
what's the Twilight shirt? Yeah, is it Rob? Is it just Rob Pattinson's face on it?
it does. It's
Yeah.
you know that
Um,
meme of Robert Pattinson like standing in the kitchen by the fridge in like the brown jacket?
oh, yes.
It's that image of him like pasted onto like a forest background, and then
Uh,
it's like this is the skin of this is the skin of a killer, Bella, and it's just him in the
mm,
kitchen, like looking like he'd be in the kitchen, but he's in the
yeah.
woods and kind of
Mm,
sparkly.
yeah.
Anyway, wonderful shirt. But yeah, I do agree. I agree with you to an extent with like the third act ish is kind of my least favorite part. I do like I think they bring it home well in the end with like Smoke, and now I feel like an awful person because I can't remember the characters' names. Smoke and his girlfriend, and like
Honestly,
the
all I
that
remember is Smoke and Stack and
Sammy.
Sammy because Jack O'Connell, yeah, Jack
Yeah.
O'Connell, Remick, um,
Hmm.
says Sammy as
Yes.
he floats into the house.
I like that piece, and I really like. I kind of am still annoyed that it is a like it's very Marvel brained to like put such an integral scene in like the middle of the credits so that so many people like don't see it, which saddens
Yeah,
me. But I
I
do
I
really love
didn't.
the mid credit scene.
Yeah, I
Um,
didn't. I felt like I didn't really see the justification for that as like an artistic one. It didn't feel like yeah,
no, I
like
was like, why are we putting it in here? But other than it is a great scene, and but the like part that I feel the least engaged by. Like I love the setup and all of the stuff in the juke joint. And
mm,
then but then it's like when they get to like the brawling with the vampires in the barn
yeah,
scene and
that's
everyone's
just
dying,
yeah,
then it's
that's
like
just
it cheapens it a little bit for me because it very
yeah,
much it like goes headlong into like this is a horror blockbuster, and
yeah,
I don't
and
want to
it's also
like be
just like
annoying about it
yeah,
because
and it's also like
it's fun.
why don't all the vampires run it? Like it feels like it's like only a handful of the vampires actually run in to do anything. And then
Yeah,
like
it's
why not just they all run in? Like they have the numbers advantage. It doesn't feel like
Yeah, I
Um,
mean it's a fine sequence, and then like I'm not mad about it, but it's not like incredibly well orchestrated
no,
as like an action blockbuster
yeah, I
spectacle,
think the
and then
film,
it's like,
yeah,
and then it feels separated from everything that came before it, which was much more soulful and character
yeah,
driven and like great in a much more singular way, and then it kind of just became like vampires.
yeah. I think the film does a really good job on the actual horror,
Hmm.
like in terms of the horror elements. Like, there's that maybe the best scene in the film is when it's kind of cornbread. He's like the big fat guy who's like sort of
Hmm.
out the front of the, and he's coming back and he's like, hey, can you let me in? And they're like, why do you need an invite to come back in? And like
Yeah,
it's such a beautifully like that is the kind of stuff where I'm like, this is perfect 10 out of 10 filmmaking right here. Like,
yeah.
because like
No, there is a
because
lot of,
because like
yeah. There's a
we
lot of
we we
great
understand
execution.
the like we haven't seen what happened, but we can infer. We know like,
Hmm.
oh, there's vampires and stuff. And then there's that really great bit where this guy, he's like attacking some other guy, and then I forget the character's name, but the Asian woman and her husband just walks over as this guy's being like brutally mauled next to him, and he's just like, "Hey, come on, I got the car ready." I was like, that's really good. I like that a lot. But I mean, for me, I'm gonna sound so white for this, aren't I? But I honestly thought the Rocky Road to Dublin, like as a
That is a great
scene,
bit.
is a really great scene. And I saw a thing with Christopher Nolan where he said like that's like the best inversion of a song, I think he said. And a lot of people didn't seem to understand what he was saying with that because they're like, oh, so he likes a scene where it's all about the Irish, the white guy, leading the you know black vampires or whatever. And I'm like,
Hmm.
well, no, that's not what he said. He like if you like he said in inversion of like a song, and I think he's yeah, it's very it says it's the most spectacular musical inversion since Kubrick's Singing in the Rain from Clockwork Orange,
Hmm.
which is a I mean that's a strong claim to make, but perhaps a
Perhaps
fair
true.
one. It is perhaps true. Um,
Yeah,
and I
but
also
yeah,
I really loved the scene as well with I think it's Pale Moon where there's like
yeah,
it's like
that's a
the
great
stomping on
part.
the
Yeah,
stage and then it's like intercut with these people like just stomping the shit out of this guy.
yeah. There's a ton of great filmmaking, and I agree that like the while like the whole ending brawl is a bit cheap to me, like all the horror elements before that are very well done and like not cheap or like jump like there's not jump scares, and the all the tension is really well built. Like I that scene with
That's kind of the
Haley
problem. Is it spends
the
so
scene with
much.
Haley Steinfeld's character and when she's like out with the vampires is very well done.
I think
And
yeah. I mean, I think Remick is a fantastic character. I think he's really great.
mhm,
I think I mean, it's a famous bit. It's a well known bit now, but it's really funny where he's asked like, "Oh, y'all clan," and he's just like, "Sir," and he's just so offended at that. He's like, "Sir,
yeah,
please. I may be a vampire, but I'm not a monster, okay?"
yeah,
Um, which I just
exactly.
love it's a great comedic bit. I will
Hmm.
say the film's humor it doesn't is very hit or miss for me. There's like a bit where Delroy Lindo's character is like, "Oh, I just soiled myself," and I'm like, "See, that's just cheap. That's like sub Marvel level humor," and I just don't. I didn't care for that. I was like, okay, that's not
Hmm.
really funny.
On the whole, I think it's a great movie, a very exciting modern horror blockbuster type with
Mm,
a very singular to Ryan Coogler, something only he would do.
mm,
Um, so yeah, like I, it's not my personal favorite in the lineup. Like it's upper, is it up? I don't know. The top six for me is like very stacked. So I don't even know if it's top five, but I do love it a lot. and like I understand the nomination record being broken, and I'm like, yes, that's
Yes.
great, good
I
for
mean,
them.
which, yeah, I did expect it to break nominations. I didn't think it would get
Yeah,
16. I thought it would get 15.
I mean,
But
I have some mixed feelings on the Delroy Lindo nomination, but I am happy for
I
him.
honestly thought if you were gonna nominate a supporting actor from Sinners, you would nominate Miles Caton because like he is a big part of the film, but also he's a bit of a newcomer. Same with Chase Infinity.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I expected that it would be Delroy Lindo if anybody.
Mm.
Miles Caton is better,
Miles Caton is much
but
better. He's giving a much better
like
performance, but
Delroy Lindo's a nice presence, and like obviously he's a very respected veteran actor who's never been nominated before, so good for him.
mm,
Um, Not probably still my least favorite in the lineup, but
mm. And I also yeah, like Michael B. Jordan now maybe gonna win the Oscar. Like
yeah,
maybe. Which
probably.
I
But
have mixed feelings on because yeah, he's good in it. But like he's not the best nominated, guys. And I see people like, oh well, he played two characters, and it's like, yeah, Robert Pattinson did that last year as well. So did Elle Fanning in Predator: Badlands. So did James McAvoy in Split. James McAvoy played 21 characters in that film. Where was his Oscar nomination? Like it shouldn't be which is the hardest role to play. Like that is not how it works. It is the best performance.
mhm.
And like again, he's good, but it's also like he also supports Jonathan Majors, and like we don't like that here. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't. I don't. I mean, maybe you'd have a problem. I mean, I assume you don't, but I don't
No, I
know.
do not like that. Yeah.
Jonathan Majors is a fucking terrible person. Like, it's not.
Yeah,
Like we know Jonathan Majors sucks. Like we know he does. So Michael B. Jordan coming out in defense of him, not great, but people have forgotten about that because he's in Sinners and people love Sinners, and people sort of turn a blind eye to the people they like, which happens. People do that. They just sort of ignore the bad things about the people they like.
mhm.
But I would argue it is a worse stance than anything Timothy has said on this campaign. I'm going to be honest here.
That is
Um,
true.
like
Yeah, I
like
mean, I think
like I just think the difference is Timothy. He just says a lot of shit. He says a lot of dumb shit. Whereas Michael B. Jordan, he doesn't say a lot of dumb shit, but he says stuff that that does make me think less of him. Honestly,
mhm.
it's not like. Whereas Timothy is just like, yeah, he's annoying, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
think on
mean,
the
he did
level
shout
of
out Kevin
perform
O'Leary, which I don't support that. I don't like
well,
Kevin
no.
O'Leary either. Sinners, it is good. I'd give it I give it an 8. I give it a very solid
Mhm.
8. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's my fifth favorite in this lineup. It's got problems. It's like the third act really is what brings it down. Like because those first two acts, incredible. The
Mhm.
music is great. Ludwig Göransson is going to win his third Oscar, which is
Which
insane,
is
by the way.
cool.
Because it's just
Yeah.
like, can we not just give it to Johnny Greenwood? Like, can we just
No.
do that, please? Just one time. Can Johnny Greenwood get that Oscar?
Mm-mm.
And it's just like the
No.
score in One Battle, I would argue is better. That's just me personally. Um, but the music in Sinners is very good. I do think the songs are really great. It's not going to win the original song Oscar, which is
Which is sad.
we'll talk about the animated films and the international films at the end. But God, of all the things Sinners could win, why is song not one of them? It's just ridiculous. But yeah, I give it a very sturdy 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I have teetered down to an 8 in my there was a point in between the months where I hadn't seen it where I went down to an 8, but then I rewatched it and I'm like, I really do love a lot of this and appreciate the overall soulfulness of it. And I'm like, let me go back up to a 9. So we'll say
Mm,
it's a 9, but it's still not my purse probably like fifth or sixth in the lineup for me still. But yeah,
Mm,
I do love it overall, and I would say like performance wise, if Michael B. Jordan wins the Oscar, I would notably prefer Timothy out of like the realistic options.
yeah,
Um, though Michael B. Jordan still would come in higher than a lot of the past like recent winners in actor. Not recent as in like last year. Recent
I
as in
think
like looking at the whole last 10
uh,
years,
he would be
he's
better
probably
than
still better than a lot of them.
The next one is one I didn't really I was probably not in the right mood for this, so I can't blame the film, but it's The Secret Agent.
Hmm.
I was not. I didn't dislike it. I just don't think I really was in the right. I was probably too tired to watch it like properly, so I didn't necessarily give it the love and respect it deserved. So I don't really have much to say on it. It premiered at Cannes. It competed for the Palme d'Or, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah, and it
Um,
won 2 prizes.
I mean, yeah, I don't have much to say on it. It's very long, which I don't think helped. It's 2 hours 40 minutes, which is very long, and I didn't. Again, this isn't the film's fault. I just don't think I was in the right mind to
Hmm.
follow this because I didn't realize that Wagner Moura was like multiple characters. Like I didn't know that going into it, and so I didn't sort of click for me until quite a bit into the film that these are different characters that he's playing. Which again, not the film's fault. I just didn't go in with the right mindset. Um, but I mean, I don't really have much to say on it. Wagner Moura, I think, is a very good actor. I like him a lot. It's nice that he got nominated here. I think he is a solid nomination because I didn't think this would be a film that would get. Honestly, I for a while I didn't think this would be nominated for Best Picture. I thought this would be a
No.
kind of thing where it gets international and it gets Best Actor. And even then, I did think maybe Wagner Moura doesn't get Best Actor because he missed BAFTA, he missed SAG, which by the way, I don't know what SAG is just racist. They nominated like no international
They
performances, if I
just
remember
don't.
correctly.
They just don't know how to read.
I
That's the problem.
genuinely don't understand how no one from Sentimental Value was nominated. Like Wagner Moura wasn't nominated. I genuinely do not understand why they are just racists who don't watch foreign films. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I mean, you are a very big Wagner Moura fan.
Yeah, I am
Uh,
kind of a secret agent super fan. Um,
so I'll let you
I
take this one because I really don't have much to say on it.
I do I do understand why it's definitely not a film that would like please everybody. It is
Mm,
very it's long on the longer side and like slower paced with not a lot of clear plot structure and like any sort of climax that the film has is intentional. I don't say this as a negative, but the ending is anticlimactic in terms of like what you might expect from a like political thriller type setup.
mm,
Um, but I also think it's like very smart with how it executes its ending. I won't spoil anything, of course,
mm,
but I do. I really love how it's done. Um, I I liken it to. It feels very, and this is fitting for it because it's set in the '70s. You know, has all the '70s. Like they talk about Jaws a lot. Like it's very in love with '70s cinema within the movie.
mm,
Um, Set in the '70s, and then it adopts a lot of that like classic '70s thriller atmosphere where it's like very laid back and like a very laid back hangout vibe where things are
mm,
kind of just randomly happening. Um, but then there's like a really dark undercurrent where it's like something could go horribly wrong at any moment.
mm,
But for the most part, these characters are kind of just like hanging out and like talking. Um, it reminds me a lot of like classic Altman movies, like The Long
mm,
Goodbye, or even more aptly Nashville, which
mm,
is one of my favorite movies ever. Um, not exactly like like Nashville is like a very long movie, a very laid back movie with like loose plot structure
Yeah,
with a
you're
lot of
describing all
supporting
the problems I
characters.
had with. You're describing every problem I had with Nashville.
Well, yes, and it's like anyone who doesn't like Nashville is not going to like The Secret Agent very much. But I love Nashville with like how it like creates this tapestry of like 1960s American society, and like it has this love for country music and gospel music as like a cornerstone of American society. But then it's like using that to comment on like the Vietnam era of like political instability and rampant political violence, and like juxtaposing the harsh realities of living in 1960s America, where there was a lot of inequality and imperialistic attitudes coming from the government, and a war being waged overseas that was like just endless war crimes
It
occurring.
sounds very, very
It sounds
topical.
like right now, yeah,
It's
exactly.
right
And
now,
the secret
yeah.
and the secret agent is like,
Which is we are going to get into films that are incredibly topical later on
mhm.
because my God, this world is crumbling really,
Well,
really
and this,
quickly.
yes, and the secret agent is much like Nashville at the time and now is very
Mm,
topical. And like what Nashville does with like gospel music and country music to create a commentary on American society in the 60s. The secret agent takes
mm.
Carnival, and 70s movies, like American 70s movies, and uses that to like paint a cultural web of Brazil in the 1970s. And it like really portrays Brazilian society in such a like diverse way. Like you see so many facets of Brazilian society and how rich it is, and like how much everyone just loves each other, and then juxtapose that with the harsh realities of living under a military dictatorship, where these corporate executives can basically just like weaponize the
Again, are you
government against
describing
regular people.
Brazil or are you describing the current United
You
States?
know,
Like,
both. And yes, the secret agent is, and I think this is a big reason why it resonated with voters.
mm,
And perhaps in an unexpected way, it was like, this is literally just about the world right now,
yeah,
especially in the US, but many other areas as well, where far right nationalism is just creeping up everywhere. Um,
yeah.
so I think it's a very
Unfortunately,
important. I think it's a very important film in terms of the current culture, but I also just love how it's executed in that very laid back manner, where you're just hanging out with these characters, and then but you can just sense something brewing underneath, and there's a lot of like surrealist elements. Like it's very laid back, but then you have like dream logic sequences where like crazy things are happening with severed limbs. Um, I love that. There's like a shark going on. There's a lot of like fantastical elements, which plays into the idea that like fascist regimes will like make boogeymen out of like things that like they'll like fabricate things to be scared about or be focused on, so that you don't focus on
again,
them stealing all of your money.
yeah, I don't know if you're still talking about the movie or if you've just gone into a political rant. Honestly,
Yeah.
I can't tell anymore. It's blended in together and is one thing, which is
It
just
is.
I I remember when Civil War came out, the Alice Garland film, and everyone said, "Oh, this is so unrealistic. This would never happen." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what you say now." And then just look,
Right.
it's like, "Oh, look, the president's trying to run for a third term," and I'm like, really? Who would have thought? And then there's like, oh,
Yeah.
California and Texas working together, and it's like, Texas is now about to be a blue state. Like, yeah, I can't really talk about it because I just wasn't in the right headspace for it. It's
Hmm.
very long, so it's not like it's something I want to revisit again anytime soon because
Yeah.
a near 3 hour film, that's a big commitment. Definitely. I
Yeah.
know there's people who like love it, consider it a masterpiece, and it's just like it's definitely not gonna be like everyone's cup of tea.
Mhm.
Um, and it's like, I know someone, I just saw a review of someone that said, they said like it's, objectively like it's well made, it's not bad by any means, but like they just couldn't get into it. And I think that's fair. I think there are movies I definitely watch where I'm like, I can't get into it, or like it's a well made film. It's not like a bad film per se, but it just doesn't connect with me. I just can't get into what it's doing.
Mhm.
So I can't like blame. And if
Yeah.
someone, there are movies that I'm a big fan of that if someone said I just couldn't get into it or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, no, I get that. Like, it's not everyone's cup of tea. And I think
Mhm.
this was just one of those for me personally. I mean, I give it a 7.
Yeah. It's a very singular film. Um, I personally would probably go a high 9 on it. I do love all the Altman and Friedkin energy. I didn't even talk about Wagner Moura, but he's like probably my personal favorite in the actor lineup. Much more subtle than someone like Timothy Chalamet, like very opposite end of the
Mm,
spectrum. But
yeah.
he conveys a lot of humanity through his like multi-role performance.
Mm.
Um,
I will say, or no disrespect to Wagner Moura, but he took Jesse Plemons' spot,
he did.
and I just Jesse Plemons, the maybe the biggest snub of the Oscars this year, and I
I
like
do. I
I
do prefer Wagner Moura. I really like Jesse Plemons as well. I would have liked to see him nominated.
I mean, I
Um,
personally would have taken out Ethan Hawke. He was my least favorite personally. That's just me though. I would have taken, yeah, I would have taken Ethan Hawke out to put
mhm.
Jesse Plemons in.
My
But
least favorite of the lineup is honestly probably Michael B. Jordan, but that's speaking to like how
mm,
strong the lineup
it's
is.
a very good lineup, honestly. I think it's very rare that the best actor lineup is like actually really strong.
Yeah,
Like they really have a difficult time getting like a really strong lineup for the best actor Oscar, and I don't know why that is. Okay, we've again got to keep moving on because got 7 more of these films to talk about. Sentimental Value, the next one up, also premiered at Cannes, competed for the Palme d'Or. In my head, when the Cannes lineup came out, I kind of assumed, oh, this would be the Palme d'Or winner. I think a lot of people thought it was, to be honest. Um, I don't really know why I thought it would be the Palm winner. I just thought, yeah, it seems like that could be a Palm d'Or winner. Um, I saw before this came out actually, The Worst Person in the World, which I think is
hmm hmm
an excellent film. I really really like
Yeah.
that film. I was very pleased that that film got screenplay nomination
Yes.
over Aaron Sorkin's Being the Ricardos, which is what they thought they would do, and they said no, we'll do something good for once. Um,
Yeah.
and so this, yeah, the second Joachim Trier film I have seen. I do want to watch some of his other films because I didn't like this as much as Worst Person in the World, but I think this is. I mean, first of all, I think this is maybe the best acted film of the year. Like,
I can
I
see
honestly,
why. Yeah.
I mean, Renate Reinsve would be my personal choice for the Best Actress Oscar. It's not going to be her, but she would be my personal pick. I thought she was phenomenal in it. I think does a lot of really great subtle work. I think Renate Reinsve is like sort of up and coming as one of my favorite like female
Yeah.
actors working right now. I really
Yeah.
liked her in A Different Man, which it's a real supporting role in that film, but I think she does a really very good job with that. She's in this Backrooms film for A24,
And
which
Fjord.
and Fjord, is that the next?
It's the new Christian
That's
Mungiu film. I apologize if I said that correctly, but yeah, with
yeah.
Sebastian Stan.
Oh, this is the guy who did 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days, which is a very good film.
Yes. Yeah, and
That's a
RMN.
and Graduation, it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days. Very good film.
Yeah, it's great.
Recommend it.
I've done a little Mungu binge leading up to,
Yeah.
well, not leading up to Fjord. It's still going to be ways out, but knowing that
Is it gonna come out at Cannes? It seems like something that would premiere at Cannes, right? Or are
that,
they?
I mean, we don't know, but
We
that's
don't know yet.
heavily implied. It's like
It
almost
seems
certain that
like
it'll be there.
it's they like their foreign films at Cannes. They do a lot of
It's going to be
international
there.
stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be there.
But yeah, Renate Reinsve, fantastic. Like, personally, would have been my choice to win the Oscar, but that's okay. Got Stellan Skarsgård, who is again another wonderful, wonderful actor, a genuine contender for his best performance, I would say. And he's done a lot
Definitely.
of really, really good acting, and I've seen him in a lot of things. This might be his best performance. I think he's, yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic,
he's awesome.
great performance. I did think he might win, but the tide has turned subsequently, and I don't think he is anymore. I still do not know how to pronounce her name. Inga. I still don't know how to pronounce her middle name because I know it's Inga something
Ib,
Lilias. I don't know how to pronounce her
Inga
middle name.
Ibs daughter, but yeah, I'm not certain.
Honestly, I don't get the hype for her like, it's not a bad performance. I just sort of didn't think, like, if I had to nominate one of the supporting actresses, I would have nominated Elle Fanning, who I thought was very good. I thought Elle Fanning gave a very good performance. I'm very pleased she was nominated because I did think it's possible she doesn't get nominated just because,
Mhm.
like, she wasn't getting nominations for things, and I thought there's a very good chance she, yeah, doesn't get nominated.
Yes.
Yeah, the film, it has a nice sort of emotional core to it. I saw it very early, actually. I saw it August 10th was when I was able to see it. So I saw it at a sort of an early screening. So, it had premiered at Cannes. It had all the hype at Cannes.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, no, this is going to be an Oscars thing. It's definitely going to happen at the Oscars. Um, and yeah, it just didn't. I didn't connect with it as much as I did with Worst Person in the World. Even though this arguably has more of like an emotional center to it. Like, I think Worst Person in the World is kind of a bit more clinical and a bit more cold. Um, in terms of like what it's doing. Like, I don't think Worst Person in the World is meant to try and draw you in like on an emotional level and make you like emotional about what it's doing. I think Set Amount of Value is trying to go for that, and I don't think it necessarily hits in the same way in terms of like getting
Mhm.
me in the set. Like, I think it does work emotionally. Like, there's certainly emotional moments to it that I do think work, but I didn't find it as engaging or as interesting as I found Worst Person to be. Um,
Mhm.
but I like that Joachim Trier is here.
Yeah.
I like that he got the director nomination. Even he, again, personally, he would not have been my choice for the director nomination. But I think he were it's not a bad nomination for direction, and I like that Joachim Trier is getting that Oscar recognition now. Um, but yeah, it didn't. There's emotional moments that I do like, but it just didn't engage me as much as, like I said, Worst Person did. Even
Yeah.
though Worst Person is more clinical and cold with what it's doing. Um, but I say that as, a fan of that film. It's just like, I don't think it's trying to get you on an emotional level rather than, I guess, just accurately portray sort of that period in your life more than anything else,
Mhm.
really.
I do really love this film as well. I'm glad it got all the attention it did. I agree, it's very, very well acted across the board. The core quartet are all very strong in their roles. Um, I think I think I agree that I personally prefer The Worst Person in the World. I think while it's, yeah, definitely like less of a emotionally heavy story, and like kind of indulging in a character arc that's more messy and standoffish. I definitely I connected more on a personal level to the worst person in the world. Um, where sentimental value stands out to me a lot. Like I think it really one up. Like I think Trier really one upped his direction, um, and his it's a very well edited movie as well. Like piecing together different timelines, like all living in this house, and then also piecing together everyone's different perspective and story as they're like converging. Like there's a lot of like time manipulation going on here that's done really subtly, um, and very effectively. And I think overall a very eloquent film. It's a very engaging film to just like listen to the characters talk about their art, about how they're feeling, about how those things combine, about their conflicting relationships with each other and with the art they want to make and the art they don't want to make. It's all very interesting to listen to them talk about. The dialogue is very like you can really chew on the dialogue. There's also like there's kind of like Bergman elements in the way the film is depicted, like with the way the faces are blocked and there's like like kind of dreamy sequences where like their faces are fading in and out of each other's. Like that's a cool touch. Um, Very obvious Bergman um, reference, but very appreciated nonetheless. I think I think it's a very well done film and definitely emotionally effective on multiple instances. Um, if anything, like I said, I connect to it a little less personally than I do with The Worst Person in the World, and I think it kind of intellectualizes its emotion and it's like the emotion of the characters and how that feeds into the art. Like it intellectualizes it in a way that's insightful, but kind of takes away a bit of the emotional edge that could otherwise have. But I do it's still very effective on many instances. Um, like as you said, Renata Reinsva is excellent, very deserving of the actress nomination. She would be a great winner. I might prefer Buckley slightly personally, um, but they're both very good. Skarsgård would be my personal pick in supporting actor, but Sean Penn is also excellent. Um, And I do think I got a little bit more out of Inga's performance than you did. I think she had a really strong emotional arc, a bit less showy than like Renata's character, but like she's much more stable and like surefire. But you also feel a lot of just her. She's more quiet and subdued, but you feel a lot of her pain as well. And I think the one scene near the end between Renata and Inga, where they're like talking about their childhood and how Inga's character Agnes has like had this really um not that neither were successful, but has had like a much more like stable life and like has a family and whatnot. And Renata's character, Nora, I think, feels a lot more unstable and like lost in her life. And but they where they discuss their relationship from childhood to now, that was probably like my favorite scene in the movie. Um and the most emotionally impactful for me. So I definitely get a lot out of both of those performances. But yeah, I think it's a very great film. Um, Joaquin Trier definitely knows what he's doing as a director and a writer, and the cast is excellent. Um, it definitely like felt like it would be an Oscar contender going into Cannes, and it was. So it all worked out very seamlessly. Um, I do probably like I think I feel personally a bit more invigorated and excited and interested by The Secret Agent in comparison, but this is a very great film as well, and I am happy for all of the nominations it received. I think they're all very deserved. Um, but yeah.
Mm.
I
Uh,
can't remember if you gave it a rating, but I would also
uh,
give this a 9.
I give this a 7. But it's a very strong 7. It's again, I think it's deserved to be here. Um, in a year of 5, this would absolutely be nominated, and
Mhm.
it would be maybe one of the lesser ones for me if it was like a year of 5. Uh, but I think it's better than like a lot of other nominees. But yeah, I give it a solid 7, which is a step down from worst person, which I give an 8.
Yeah, I haven't seen Worst Person in a while. At the time, I went fully with a 10 on it because I was like very personally moved by it, by the lead character. I felt very it felt very relatable at the time.
Yeah, it that's
But
the thing. It definitely hits hard, like in terms of like how relatable one can find it. It is like sort of that quarter life crisis, which I'm very fastly approaching that period of. The next one is the one we've been alluding to, that we think is
yes,
not good,
that
and I don't want to talk about it too much because
no, we
I
will
resent
be brief.
that this is a film that has been nominated for Best Picture. So, Oscars morning, I wasn't able to watch the nominations live. I had to get up early for work, so I stayed. I went to bed. I woke up as I was getting ready. I had the Oscar nominations up, and and I'm like, oh, F1. That's the film we're about to talk about. Oh, it's getting a couple nominations more than I expected. And then we get to Best Picture. They say Begonia. I'm like, great, obviously. And then they say F1, and I am immediately fucking pissed off. I'm immediately disappointed in that. I'm like, you, because then because I was like, okay, so that's the 10th slot because I know what the other 9 are going to be, and it was exactly what I thought it would be. I was very annoyed because
Mhm.
this is a stupid, shitty film that does not deserve a place at the Oscars for for Best Picture. It does not. It is not good. It is not like Ford v Ferrari, which is very well made, has very solid performances, and is also made by James Mangold, who is like an Oscars favorite. This is an offensive nomination. This is offensive. It is a near 3-hour long film. I remember when I loaded this up on Apple TV, because I didn't watch this thinking this was going to be nominated for Best Picture. I just watched it because I was trying to hit 100 releases from 2025. I'm like, hey, everyone's talking about this F1 film. I'll check it out. And I loaded up, and it's like nearly 3 hours long on like Apple TV. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. This movie has no excuse being that long. This could have been under 2 hours and it would have been exactly the same movie. This movie, this is not the worst film that has been nominated for Best Picture, but this just annoys me so much more because it's not that good. This
Mhm.
is frankly a joke of a nomination. It's an absolute joke that this took the spot of it was just an accident of weapons. I am I will forever be upset with the Oscars because they didn't nominate No Other Choice for International Feature. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? I don't understand why you hate Park Chan Wook. I really don't get it. No Other Choice is better than almost every other film nominated for Best Picture this year. You stupid fucks. I don't it bothers me so much because also Brad Pitt, terrible person, okay? Brad Pitt fucking
Mhm.
sucks. Sully's every movie he's in now because he's a shitty, shitty person. It's just so boring. It's just Formula One
Yeah.
racing is so boring. It's such a boring sport. It's really dull. You know where it's gonna go. It doesn't do anything different. It's not subversive in any way. It's not saying anything. It's just like every arse. It's like, and there's no character arcs. That's the thing. There's no character arcs. Every character is the same at the beginning as they are at the end. They're all assholes. I
Mhm.
Like they're just terribly unlikable people. Like I don't know. I know I've been ranting for several minutes now, but like I just don't. This is just like everything indicative of what I don't like about the Oscars is they just nominate fucking slop. That's just what this is. This is pure slop. And
Yeah.
it's not pushing the boundaries of the medium. It's not doing anything I haven't seen done before considerably better. Like this is the dad movie of the Oscars, and it's not even a fucking good one.
I mean, I don't
And
have a ton to say about
yeah,
F1. I
I had a lot. Again, it's not stuff about the movie. It's just like what it represents and why I hate
yeah.
it. But yeah, it
Yeah.
sucks, and it's the worst film nominated this year by an extremely wide margin. I want to say that.
I do not like F1 and I'm quite sad it was nominated over it was just an accident mainly.
I will for
I
yeah.
I like I guess there's some level of technical competence on display, but I don't care. Brad Pitt's bad in
Yeah,
the movie.
that's the thing too.
It's
Is like
just
yeah,
it's
it's like
just
it's
diet Top Gun,
yeah. I mean, I don't even love
and that's
Top
it.
Gun that much. Honestly, I
I
don't
don't
think
love
Top
it that
Gun's
much, but it's a much more entertaining movie.
and like the thing is like yeah, this is technically well made film and everything, but it's like there's no story. It's just
No.
cars driving for 2.5 hours. It's like, for Christ, like, and look, I say this about Mad Max. I'm not a Mad Max fan. I don't care for Mad Max because it's just cars driving. But at least that's a film with great cinematography and production and costumes and makeup. Like, it
Yeah.
creates a cool world for you to be in. Also, it's Australian, and I Australian cinema. Please, if you're listening, watch more Australian films. We make some good stuff, guys. Like, please. There's good stuff coming from this country. And it just sucks because like this
No.
film did very well at the box office. And I'm just like, don't tell me we're gonna make more shit films like this, because I'm just gonna give up on films if this is what the industry's gonna become, because they're already losing me, and they're gonna lose me even more if they keep making these shit films. I give it a 5, which is generous, of me.
Yeah,
Um,
gave it a 5 as well,
Yeah.
but it is like
Also, yeah, can we just say F1 the movie? Terrible title.
yeah.
Absolutely awful title. Like, what are we doing? It's dog shit. And we're past the worst of it. And it should be all relatively smooth
Yeah.
sailing from here on out. Because after that was Begonia, the
Begonia.
latest from Yorgos Lanthimos. I feel like I remember for a period people were sort of taking it out of their predictions. I think maybe
Yeah,
I'm misremembering, but I feel like people were sort of saying, I don't know if it will happen. And I
it
mean,
was
when I saw it, I was kind of like, no, this can definitely happen. I definitely see it
yeah.
happening, especially in a year with 10, which is every Oscars year for the past 5 years or so. I was like, this can
Yeah.
definitely happen. It's not, this isn't a kinds of kindness thing, all right? Kinds of kindness
Mm-mm.
didn't make any sense to happen. No one like should have predicted it because it just obviously wasn't going to be a thing. But Begonia, I really like Begonia actually. I thought Begonia was very good. I like Yorgos Lanthimos generally. I've seen almost all of his films. I think the only two I haven't seen are like the first two films he's made. Was it My Best Friend and Kinetta? I think are the first two he did. Yeah, I've seen everything else. I really like. Anyway, yeah, I really like Yorgos as a filmmaker. I think he's definitely not for everyone. I know people who they don't love his films. They like sort of parts of his films, but they're not like he's not their cup of tea, and I totally get that. And I did think coming out of this, the ending is going to divide people. It's going to divide people a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Personally, I kind of liked it. I thought it was great. I know someone who isn't like a big Yorgos fan, and he sort of said everything Yorgos makes is kind of the same for him. And he said Burgonia was basically the same thing. And then the ending happened, and he's like, "It's the best thing he's done." And I mean, I don't know. At the time, I did sort of think to myself, I maybe would have liked a bit more ambiguity as to whether it is actually real or not. The whole point of the film is basically Jesse Plemons is convinced Emma Stone is an alien, and we don't know that. until like the end of the film. It's I like the ending. I like it a lot, actually. I think it's not the best part of the film, but I do like it. And I mean, Yorgos does just love making weird fucking films. Maybe my second favorite Yorgos film behind Poor Things.
Had quite a bit of fun with Begonia. I did watch before I watched Begonia, I watched Save the Green Planet, the Korean film.
I haven't seen that. I'm aware it's a remake of that.
Yeah, I enjoyed Save the Green Planet. It's definitely a different vibe. Like Save the Green Planet's much more like campy and
Mm,
genre-y, but like
yeah,
story-wise, Begonia follows it pretty closely,
I,
including the ending. So I
I
guess
was
I
gonna
like
say
kind of
yeah,
ruined the surprise for myself. but
yeah. I mean, I don't think yeah, but I mean, I think yeah. So it is basically the same, but it's with
yeah, it's yeah, Korean actors in Korean. It's the tone is definitely different.
Mhm,
And Begonia coming out like over 20 years after Save the Green Planet,
mhm.
it incorporates a lot more like modern commentary on like conspiracy like internet conspiracy theories and like incel culture, as well as like Emma Stone's.
Mm.
Also, obviously, they gender swap the CEO character, so like Emma Stone's
Yeah,
character is a man in
yeah,
Save the Green Planet.
I looked
Um,
that up, and it's a man, and he's like in an electric chair looking
yeah,
contraption.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
but
so they do that switch.
Yorgos has to work with Emma Stone in every film he
Yes,
makes now for the rest
he
of his
must.
career, so he has to put her in there somewhere. I think. I mean, acting. Do we? I mean, do we need to say much on the acting? Like, we know Yorgos gets very good performances from his actors.
Yeah, I think Jesse Plemons is very good in it.
He
Emma
was
Stone.
my personal favorite
Yes.
performance of last year. Personally, I think he absolutely deserved that Oscar nomination.
Hmm.
And I held out hope, and he didn't. And I think it's a shame because he is. I mean, Jesse Plemons is one of those. I know people have said this before, and it's kind of obvious, but he is really like the new generation's Philip Seymour Hoffman. And I know he played him.
Hmm.
He played his son in The Master, but he is really like the next generation of Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like you put him in any film, you're gonna get a phenomenal performance from him. You know,
Yeah.
like Philip Seymour Hoffman. And I hope Jesse Plemons gets his flowers one day. I hope he gets that Oscar because he's very deserving of an Oscar. We know Emma Stone's a good actor, right? Like we know she's good. You know, is there anybody
Yeah.
who doesn't think she's good? For the longest time, I was not that sold on Emma Stone. I'm not a big La La Land fan. I do intend to rewatch it at some point, probably before Damien Chazelle's new film comes out, whenever that will be. But yeah, Emma Stone, phenomenal in this. I would argue she's maybe more supporting, but I don't like I would consider her supporting, but I get like the lead distinction. I'm very about the whole co-lead thing
Uh-huh.
because I generally don't think it exists. I consider her a supporting role personally, but I think she did deserve a nomination. She's fantastic. Yeah, I loved the score. It's a really like
Hmm.
abrasive, bombastic score, and I really like that. I really like that they're just like, yeah, they go for like a very bombastic um, gonna destroy your eardrums score. I appreciate that because it works. The film does a really good job of how it uses music. You've got a "Good Luck Babe" by
Yeah. Yes.
Chapel Roan, which is a wonderful song. I think the film does it's not like there's bits of it that are definitely comedic, like the home invasion scene is definitely played as comedic, but it's not as overtly comedic as a lot of
Yeah.
Yorgos's other films, like Poor Things. That screamed, oh yeah, that's a comedy. You know, Poor Things is very clearly
Hmm.
meant to be a funny film, and it's really funny. And I don't think Begonia really has. I mean, I don't need Begonia to be funny. I did think there was something almost darkly comedic about Jesse Plemons' character dying. where he just gets blown up. I thought, oh, that's actually a nice. I did find it really funny where they walk into the whatever the fuck it's called. Where they walk in and he's just carrying a fucking shotgun. It's like under his trench coat or whatever, and I'm just like, man, and she's got like the wig on, and it's like, man, this is not subtle.
Yeah, Emma Stone is really good at it. I'm happy
Yeah.
about the nomination. Perhaps not as up to par as her performance in The Favorite or Poor Things,
It's not the best Emma Stone performance. I think Poor Things is
she's really
the
good.
best, but she's very good, and she is gonna get. She broke the Meryl Streep record or something with like most nominations by like a certain age. Although two of them are
Yeah.
producing, so it's a bit like dubious because all of Meryl's were acting. Yeah, I really liked Begonia. It's definitely going to be divisive for people. I know some people who love it. I know some people who I don't know if I'd say they dislike it, but they were enjoying it, and then the ending happened, and like don't like that. I think that I mean it works. I like it. I think it's really funny as like an ending. It's a great. It's like it's weirdness, but it doesn't feel like it's trying weirdness, and that's kind of the with
Mhm.
some of the early Yorgo stuff, like the Greek stuff. Like, because some of his other stuff, it's very, very Greek. And just the sort
Yeah.
of the sense of humor doesn't quite translate for me because I'm not, Greek. But yeah, I give it a very solid 8. It's his second best film for me. I really, really enjoyed it. I had a really great time with it. And I'm very happy it got nominated for Best Picture because I thought it. I mean, when I saw it, I was like, I put it in because I thought, hey, it can happen. And I know a lot of people said it couldn't happen, but yeah, I give Begonia an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I like Begonia. It's very fun. I think I'm a bit lower. I'd go like a high 7-ish on it just because I found some of like the modern day satire elements a bit like on the nose, but it was still very fun. And I like Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone in it a lot. And it's very a stylish movie. And it is basically literally just Save the Green Planet, but and I like them.
It
I
is.
like it about as much equally.
Yeah, and it's a bottle movie essentially. Like it's basically all in this house, but mostly in this
Yeah.
basement, which I like that. I like sort of movies that take place in one location. Stuff that could be
Yeah.
done as like a play or something. I really like that kind of thing. We've got 4 more of these films to talk about now.
We're getting there.
Hamnet. That's the next one. Um, I saw this near the end of last year. Everyone was saying how emotional it was, how much they were crying while watching it. I got a little bit of that, like towards the very end of it,
Mhm.
personally, for me. I just have to say, I'm not a big Chloe Zhao fan. I'm gonna be honest. I thought Nomadland was fine, but also the worst film nominated for Best Picture that year. Eternals was utter shit, and I'm a Marvel fan, so when I say something's bad, it's like actually bad. And Hamnet, I wasn't blown away by Hamnet, and also Jesse Buckley, Paul Mescal. I hate them now because they hate cats. They should be cancelled. I will say though, Paul Mescal missing Best Supporting Actor, stupid. Really fucking
Yeah, it's
stupid that
sad.
is. Like Delroy Lindo, he's fine. But Paul Mescal, I personally preferred Paul Mescal to Jesse Buckley. But I think Paul Mescal, he absolutely deserved that nomination. But yes, Jesse Buckley, the only acting winner that I'm confident on going into Oscars
Yeah,
Sunday. She has won, I believe, everything.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse Buckley won everything: Globe, BAFTA, Critics' Choice, SAG. It's kind of undeniable. And I feel like I remember some people were sort of less confident on Hamnet being a thing.
And early on, people were doubting it because it sounded like kind of sappy,
Yeah. Which it
Oscar
arguably
baity
is.
type stuff.
I mean,
But
arguably it is. Like, I would say it kind of
I mean,
is,
it
but it's,
is very emotion forward,
yeah,
undoubtedly.
but it came out. Was it People's, did it win People's Choice at TIFF?
Yeah. and it
Yeah,
was the highest rated film at Telluride.
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say because it just screams TIFF People's Choice. Yeah, Jessie Buckley. I mean, yeah, she's good. She's a very good actor. I think she's great. I'm happy that she's going to get an Oscar. I don't know if I'd say she deserves it for this one personally. I personally would give it to Renate Reinsve or Rose Byrne or Emma Stone before I would give it to Jessie Buckley. That's just me personally. And if Chase Infinity was in this lineup like she should have been, I probably would have said Chase as well. So Jessie Buckley would have been probably my fifth favorite. But like it's look, Best Actress, very stacked. They're very
It is
good at
stacked.
picking five really great performances. They nearly did that this year, and then there was Kate Hudson. They're very, Best Actress, generally speaking, is a very, very good lineup.
Yeah.
Jessie Buckley, yeah, fantastic. It is very much like, oh, this is the Oscars. This is the winner. However many scenes of her like breaking down and crying, and it's like, yep, there's your Oscar winner. Like you just need to see the scene where her son dies. It's like that's your winner there. That's the scene. Which I mean, I guess the question is like some of the other actresses. It's like what would be their scene? Like what would be the Renate Reinsve scene? Is it it's probably the scene with her and Inga, right, where they talk about their
Probably.
childhood. Is it? It's a very beautifully shot film. Yeah, it's a beautifully shot film. A lot of the nominees this year have been shot on like actual film because
Yeah.
Marty Supreme that was shot on film. One Battle was shot on film. Sinners was shot on film. Sentimental Value that was shot on film, was it?
I think so.
Begonia was shot on film. I will say I'm not a Shakespeare fan. I don't care for Shakespeare that much. It's not my thing. I find it very boring. And it probably doesn't help that you're forced to do it in school because that just makes things considerably less fun to do. Like doing like having to
True.
read stuff for school, it was boring and it just made me not want to do it because typically they would choose shit. They choose really bad stuff to do. But I honestly the thing is the Shakespeare stuff when they're focusing on like the making of Hamlet, I don't care for. But like the actual like relationships and dynamics between the characters, I'm on board with that.
Mhm.
I enjoy that. I'm a fan of that. I think those are really great scenes. The kids actually, I think the kids actually are pretty solid for like kid performances
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I'm used to kids being like the worst actors in every film I've ever seen them in. But I think we're in an interesting place now where people are like actually there's really good child actors or like young actors. And I also think there's a good support system behind child actors now, and so they're not gonna become you know addicts and they die in their 20s. But and yeah, my thing is I'm not like yeah I think Chloe Zhao she makes very slow, very ponderous films, which is not my thing really, in the sense of it needs to be very interesting for me to like care. And like again, when it focuses on the Shakespeare stuff, I don't care. When it focuses on like the actual stuff between the characters and the relationships, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm vibing with this. I'm liking this. But as it is, it's a film of sort of two halves. So I give it a 7. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I was so. I mean, with Hamnet, I actually just rewatched Hamlet last night. Not specifically for this, but it just appeared on Peacock, and my mom wanted to watch it.
Oh,
But
Peacock,
anyway,
everyone's favorite
yes,
streaming
everyone's
service.
streaming service, Peacock. I did read the book before I saw the movie for the first time, just because I was intrigued. So I knew what I was getting into. I knew I was getting into a very sad story, but I do love the film quite a lot. I would say I think I was higher on Nomadland than a lot of people were at the time, and maybe like I've thought about it a little less over the years. Hamlet's an interesting one to talk about because like I understand why some might be annoyed with like how overtly emotional it is, and it's like a very straightforward like this is a very sad story. This is what happened, and like this sadness it was channeled into this play, and like it's very easy to grasp, really appreciate the emotional honesty of it. Like, especially, I always think about it in relation to sentimental value, because like if I had any flaw with sentimental value, it was that it like intellectualized grief and trauma in a way that like made it hard to like connect to emotionally,
Mm.
whereas Hamnet's just like dumping mountains of
Yeah,
sadness onto you.
it is
And
as subtle as a brick to the face. Like
yeah,
it does not.
it is not subtle. It is not subtle, but I also like
I don't think it needs
I
to be to that though. I don't
no,
think it's a
that's
problem.
the thing is like I understand why someone might not love that approach, but it is like just an innately very sad story, and I think there's value, especially in like modern movies. I feel like it's uncommon for us to get like well-made prestigious films that are not afraid to be like very very emotional in your face, and there's
Mm,
definitely a way to overdo that and make it sappy and manipulative. But
mm,
I think Chloe Zhao has enough, from her background, has enough understanding of restraint and to not go like completely overboard in how the characters are behaving. It's just a
mm,
very overtly emotional situation, but it
mm,
like allows you to connect with them at a very fundamental level and see them as like real human beings behind this like very timeless, mythical, not mythical, that's not the right word, but you know, Hamlet, Shakespeare, it's like this untouchable like thing in history. But then she's just like portraying these like William Shakespeare and his wife as like these relatively young parents who just like don't know how to cope with what they've been through.
mm,
And like I think there is a lot of value in a
mm.
world that's very like like we're very irony poisoned today.
Yeah,
And like we
being
don't
genuine and
yeah,
real.
we don't want to be sentimental, and if we do want to be,
Mm,
we like want to like talk about it in some like smart way, like above it. We
mm,
want to talk over sentimentality and be like, well, we feel sad because this, and sometimes you just want to like, I think there is value in just being like, this is like an extremely sad situation, and you're going to feel it as like as much as these characters are, and you're
mm,
going to grapple with your own mortality and
mm,
like the importance of art and like the communal experience of consuming art. You're going to like feel that all very viscerally just in the moment, and
mm,
like it'll be very obvious. And I think Mescal, again, very good. I'm definitely a fan of his in general, but this is one of his stronger performances. I think there was, to prove my lack of bias, like he has a couple scenes that are like my least favorite in the movie. Like there's like one part early on where he's like kind of like drunk and he's like writing and he can't write and he's like slamming the table and screaming, and
I
like
yeah.
that's a bit over the top.
Yeah,
and
there are
and then
certainly, yeah, some moments where I thought, okay, this is a bit
and
I
then
didn't it's like this stuff where he's sort of training these. Well, I guess this is goes back to the it's all about the Shakespeare.
yeah, the part where he's like rehearsing with the
Yeah, and I'm just
actors.
like, yeah, and I'm just like,
I do like that part. I don't like the part right after where he's like on the bridge, kind of suicidal, and he's like reciting his play. I'm like, that's a little
yeah,
like
I
there
just
are elements
yeah,
there
it
are
just sort of
elements where it's like
yeah,
it's like winking a little too hard at, like that would be one of my complaints about the movie, is that
mm,
sometimes winking a little too hard at you, that like this is about Shakespeare and like this is what
yeah.
Hamlet is about, and it's like
I
okay, we
think
get it.
the thing with that scene where he's trying to teach these actors is he doesn't give them any direction. He just sort of says, "No, do it again. You're doing it right," and he doesn't tell them. And I'm like, "Oh, that's just so annoying." It's like this is the exact kind of shit like Kubrick did,
I
and
mean, it is
would.
annoying.
And I'm like, yeah,
I
that's not a good director.
As much as it winks at you with this Shakespeare-esque, like I do think the ending portion is very like quite moving with the way it's shot and edited, and like blends together the play with memories of her son. Yeah, I give it a 9 probably still. I was worried rewatching that like the emotion would hit less and that I'd be less invested in it because I'd be like, oh, I know where it's going and I know what's going to happen and I won't feel it as much. And then I'll have more problems with how it's done. But that didn't really happen. I think I lowered it like one place, but I still very much respect the emotional honesty and frankness of it. It does feel very Spielberg, which he produced it,
Well,
so that makes
I was
sense.
just going
But
to say he's a producer, which I was
I
so confused when it won at Golden Globes and Spielberg's just on stage. I'm like, what was it? Are they just thanking Spielberg? And then I was like, oh, he's like a producer on this.
yeah.
That
He
does make
also
sense.
handpicked Chloe Zhao as director. Like he took it to her.
We're down to the last three films, and these next two I've already talked about in the review of the year, so I kind of don't need to talk about them as much anymore because I've given my opinions on them. First is Frankenstein from Guillermo del Toro. Um, I'm a big Guillermo del Toro fan. We have talked about Pan's Labyrinth on the podcast in the past. I think Del Toro is a phenomenally talented director. He's great. He's anti-AI. But yes, Frankenstein has been a real passion project for years, for decades. And I mean, yeah, I've talked about it in the review of the year. I really, really liked it. I made the point of seeing this in the cinema because it just was not going to look as good on a TV or a laptop. I saw it in the cinema, loved it, looks great, beautiful production, cinematography, costumes, like everything about it it's great. I am surprised Jacob Elordi is Oscar nominated for it because he's fine. I really don't get why everyone loves the performance from him that much personally.
Frankenstein. I think I have a bit more reservations on it than you, maybe. I like it. Ornate, like the production is gorgeous. The production design, the costumes, many beautiful shots, even though I think sometimes there's like too much of a digitally a sheen or the VFX kind of like tarnish some of the beauty.
Mm.
But it is overall well shot and has many great shots, naturally, as you'd expect. Very gothic and haunting. And I do think Jacob Elordi is really good in the role. He brings a lot of like sadness and humanity to the part, which is very integral to what like you'd expect from Del Toro, but also very true to the novel and does a good job of kind of undoing a lot of the lowbrow, shallow, very genrefied adaptations that we've gotten of Frankenstein, where it's just a monstrous being attacking people, and there's not any sort of like complex character to the creature slash the monster. Um, like Del Toro definitely understands that piece of the story well and conveys that really well. And Elordi, I think, is really good in the part.
Oscar Isaac, really like him. Think he's doing a giving a very good performance here.
I mean, perhaps controversially, I do love Oscar Isaac in general. I'm not a big fan of him in this movie, though it's less due to him to the performance he gives. I just think, and it's part of like my main gripes with how Del Toro approaches this adaptation is he kind of it feels watered down from the source material, and
I'm
not that
aware that
everything
it's
has to be the
not.
source material.
Yeah, I'm aware
Um,
it's different.
and I'm not Yeah, and I don't want to sound like one of those people that's like, it's different from the book, therefore it's not good. Like, I don't intend it that way. I just think there is a richness from the book that is fundamentally lost in this version, where like Victor Frankenstein is played much more villain is played much more villainous in this film. I think it comes from like Del Toro's penchant for like really caring about like them like wanting to humanize monsters and like weird creatures and like, and that's great and wonderful, and as that is very true to what Frankenstein should be. But I don't love that they kind of cartoonified Victor into this like mad scientist, like in search of personal glory, and what like basically just trying to like one up his enemies, and like gets pulled into this mess because of his own hubris. Whereas like Victor is in the book, and again, you can change things and that's fine. But in the book, Victor is a much more idealistic, like an idealistic young scientist. He wants to help people. He wants to like cure death. He wants to like make death non-existent because he wants to like help the human race. And he like basically gets pulled into this situation, like it becomes completely out of his depth, but it's out of his like desire for progress and wanting to help people. But then he just completely misjudges the situation, and like he creates this creature, but he's scared of the creature, so he tries to get away from the creature, and then everything ensues as it does in the film. And I think that I just find that fundamentally more interesting, like a very flawed, conflicted Victor who's like idealistic, but like makes a lot of mistakes and does not think things through. The only thing is when you have Victor being more idealistic, then it makes the creature look more villainous. So I think Del Toro tried to like flip it in a way where the creature is much more the victim, which I support. I just think there is a way to like have the best of both worlds, if that makes sense, because the book never villainizes the creature either. You understand why he feels that way and why he feels abandoned by his creator, by who he sees as his father. So like I think in a way this version feels a bit like simplified, streamlined, like more cut and dry. Like this, the creature has been mistreated. Victor's like very kind of kind of really a bad person to like everyone. Um, so like that's the gripe that kind of just like spreads out across the movie for me and makes me appreciate it a lot less. But I do still like it. I like the intention that Del Toro put into it and like what he's going for. I respect it. Technically, it's very well done. I do really like Elordi. I think Oscar Isaac does well with what he's given. I'm just not a fan of how they approach the character in the movie.
And it's infinitely better than Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride, which has just come out at the time of
It is
recording.
better, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of already said all I want to say when I did it, talked about this in the review of the year. I love when directors get to finally make passion projects they've wanted to make for however long.
Yeah.
And it's clear that that Del Toro loves this story.
Yeah.
I really like the cast. We've already mentioned Oscar Isaac and Jacob Elordi, but I like Christoph Waltz. I think Christoph Waltz is always solid. Mia Goth is two roles, isn't it? She plays a couple characters in this.
Yeah, she's his mom, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really really enjoyed this film. It's one of my favorites of the year. I've said I sort of said everything I want to say in the review of the year episode. I haven't revisited it, mainly just because it just won't look as good not in the cinema. Yeah, I give it a really sturdy 8 out of 10, and it's one of the best films in Del Toro's filmography for me.
I'm a bit more lukewarm. I go like a high 6, but I'm happy for all the fans, and I'm glad that Del Toro got to make this, and I respect a lot about it.
But yeah, solid 8. And we move on to the film that is going to win Best Picture. One battle after another. One battle after another is undeniable. And I know some people were sort of unsure about it because it wasn't going to festivals before it came out. Like it was coming out in September, but it wasn't going to like Venice or TIFF or anything. Didn't go to Cannes, like didn't have any festival premieres. And then it comes out and is like maybe the most beloved film of the entire year. We talked about Paul Thomas Anderson's career on the podcast, so I have talked about this film in the review of the year. At that point, I had seen the film twice, which I don't do for films that are this long. This is a near 3-hour film, and I've now seen it 3 times because I've subsequently seen it in 17 millimeter, which I had to do because I don't often get the chance to do that, and it looks amazing. It's a phenomenally well shot film. Seeing a film on film stock, everyone should do that. It's really good.
Yeah.
The movies look great. And I also saw Marty Supreme and 70mm, but I'll talk about that in a minute. And I saw Pulp Fiction 35mm, which again, it looks great. I've given my thoughts on this, but my score has been bumped up again on this third watch. I think this is the best film in PTA's entire career. Boogie Nights, I think Boogie Nights is really great. I like Magnolia. The Master, I think, is really great. Punch Drunk Love, and even some of his other films, like There Will Be Blood, I think is solid. Phantom Thread, Licorice Pizza, they're okay. Inherent Vice isn't terrible, but we don't need to talk about it. And Hard Eight, his first film, is also fine. But One Battle After Another is. I mean, we talk about this with The Secret Agent. This is a film of now. This is a film of the moment, and it, offended all the right people. All the right people got offended. Yeah, the first time I saw it, there's some kids in the front row throwing popcorn around, creating a massive disturbance. So that did take away from the film for me. I saw it a second time at home because I was like, I do want to watch it again, and then I saw it 70mm because I don't get the opportunity to see films in 70mm that much. So I want to go see this one. And yeah, I think it's a phenomenal film. It is going to deserve the Best Picture win it is going to get. This is potentially going to date very, very badly. But I just don't see a realm where it doesn't win. Again, to be fair, people said the exact same thing about La La Land, but also Moonlight was like the biggest upset of the decade. That was the biggest upset of the decade. So it's not that comparable. And I just think One Battle After Another, it is kind of an undeniable film. It's a movie of now. PTA has the overdue narrative. It's considered his best film. It's winning at minimum 1 acting award, possibly 2, maybe. Supporting actress is very confusing. I don't know what to do with it right now. I really don't like it, because I don't know what the fuck is happening anymore with it, because none of it makes any sense to me anymore. It's winning screenplay. It's gonna win editing. Probably something else that I'm forgetting. Johnny Greenwood should be winning score, but he won't be. It's not going to win cinematography. It's not going to win. I don't know.
Could win cinematography.
It could win cinematography. It's between that and Sinners. Again, half a lot of these categories are just like flip flopping between Sinners and One Battle. But yeah, I think it's a great film. It deserves the nominations. 13 nominations, I believe, it received. Deserves. I mean, Chase Infinity should have been nominated. It is a crime she wasn't. Like, genuinely. I just, like, again, I haven't seen Song Song Blue, but Chase Infinity gave one of the best, like, breakthrough performances I've ever seen in recent years, just based off this film. Very well talented. And she goes toe-to-toe with Sean Penn, with Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, that's not an easy thing to do. I assume you loved this film as well. Because I think everyone basically did. I don't think I've talked to anyone who didn't. I think the lowest rating I've seen from anyone who's seen it is like a 6 out of 10. And there's people who think it's racist or something, like people who get, because of the stereotypes or whatever, or like how the black women are written, and I'm just sort of like, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not black, so I can't speak on that front. But like all the white characters are fucking incompetent or they're Nazis.
Yeah.
Like Benicio del Toro, he's like the most competent person in this entire film. Chase Infinity, Willa, she does a lot of she saves herself, basically. Well, she's
Yeah.
saved by a Native American man, but she does a lot of smart shit. When there's the maybe the best scene of the entire year, the car chase scene
Hmm.
is just it's phenomenal filmmaking. And there's a great moment right near the front of the scene where she gets into the car and the camera's like on the door, on like the door, and like the door
Hmm.
swings shut as she like starts driving, and I'm like, that is a brilliant shot. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so good. PTA is a phenomenally talented filmmaker. We know this. We ignore the well, we don't ignore, but we hope he's moved past the anger issues and the drug habits. We hope he's moved past that. And he's him and Maya Hawk, not Maya Hawk, Maya Rudolph. Sorry, it's just Maya Hawk, and now she's got a new album out in a couple of months, so that's probably why I said Maya. But we know about PTA and him treating Fiona Apple not good, not very well at all. So hopefully he's matured. I would hope he's a 55-year-old guy, so hopefully he's matured a bit, unlike Quentin Tarantino, who is
Child.
not and sucks basically.
I am a big PTA fan, and this film is no different. I do really, really love it. I think I've seen it only twice, no, three times, twice in theater and once since then.
Mm.
I and I think it like grew on me every time. In certain ways, it's like one of his most like straightforward, not in a bad way either, like straightforward, easy to grasp films,
I think
especially
this is
compared to
one of
like,
his more like crowd pleasing films. Like I feel like
yeah,
this is a film that
definitely.
a lot this like Magnolia, as much as I like it, is a dense film and is not going to be to everyone's liking.
Yeah.
But this and maybe even I'd say Boogie Nights is, I don't know actually, because Boogie Nights is like about porn and stuff. So maybe it's I don't know. I think this is definitely the most like accessible PCA film.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like straightforward in a good way. And
Mm,
like, I guess it's hard to like say more than what's already been said by everybody ever. But the
yeah.
the acting is great. It's
Mm,
expertly directed, edited, shot, scored.
mm,
Everything's wonderful. You just
yeah.
have a great collection of characters. There's the great moments of action, comedy, and then like the father-daughter relationship at the center works really well. Yeah, it's straightforward, but doesn't shy away from very progressive ideas of
Mm,
political revolution, basically, and
yeah.
exposing the police and the military
Yeah. Well,
and
they're
ICE for
basically, yeah,
what
they're
they are.
Nazis.
It's
Um,
very
yeah.
emblematic of the times in that it's like it's very populist filmmaking, to use a political term.
Mm,
Like it's very and not populist in terms of being a crowd pleasing movie, but also just like conveying very complex ideas of class and race and
mm,
like a government being like a fascist police state basically, but like
yeah.
communicating it in a very straightforward, potent, emotional, exciting, invigorating way that I
Mm.
think our society very much needs.
Yeah,
um
when I saw this the first time, I was like, wow, this is basically a documentary. This is like
yeah,
what people say idiocracy is to nowadays. Like that's basically what this film is. And I remember I saw it because when I saw it in 70 mil, I saw it with a friend of mine, and he hadn't seen it, so he didn't know he hadn't seen it at all. And he said to me after as we were on the way home, he was like, when did like it really is just reality. Like that's just what the
yeah,
United States is. There's that scene where there's that like cop or whatever, that ice agent basically, and he goes undercover as like a protester, and he throws like a Molotov cocktail to justify,
yeah,
for to be like, oh well, they attacked us first, so we can move forward. Blah 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 blah. And this is like, when that's really, yeah,
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
reality. Sean Penn, I don't think we need to say much about Sean Penn other than like he's gonna deserve that Oscar. He's gonna
yeah, it's a
deserve it.
crazy performance. Yeah,
And I'm
It's
surprised. 3-time Oscar winner Sean Penn.
yeah.
Didn't see that
I,
coming.
people can like be like, oh, he doesn't need 3 Oscars, but if like this is like one of the, if not the best, like one of the very best performances of his career,
And
and
this is going to be his.
he did not
Yeah.
deserve his other Oscars.
He
Well,
this is
no, he didn't.
this is going
So
to be his most deserved Oscar
yeah,
win.
easily by far.
He is phenomenal in this film, and this will be his most like. I don't hate him in Milk or Mystic River. Again, there was I didn't really think of it for like that often, but I was like, is it possible Leo gets snubbed like he was for Killers? Like,
Not
not that I thought it would happen, but I was like, I mean, he did start losing nominations for Killers. But yeah, Teyana Taylor, who
yeah,
I
she's
mean, maybe
great.
it's foolish to think she can still win, but like,
There's a chance just because she's
I'm
in
not.
the movie of the year,
Well, that's the
and
thing is like, I know people are
and
like switching to Amy Madigan, but it's like the lone nomination for Amy Madigan, and she's not undeniable. Like, if Amy Madigan had won every single major award, I'd be like, sure. She hasn't though. She didn't win BAFTA. She didn't win Globe. She won Critics'
yeah,
Choice, and she won
yes,
SAG.
and
But I'm
SAG.
like, if she would, I
It's
just don't.
definitely not cut and dry.
She would have had to win everything for me to be like certain, like, yeah, she's gonna happen. And like that's just and also I'm not that impressed by Amy Madigan and Weapons. Like honestly, I don't get the love for that performance, and I love that film, but I didn't really get why people liked her so much in that. Like that's just me, obviously. Tana Taylor does a lot with like a true supporting role. I was surprised at how little she was in it, considering how much people were going on about it, about her performance. I was really surprised that she was not in it that much.
Yeah,
Yeah, Benicio. I still don't get the love for Benicio in this, and I love Benicio in general. I think he's great, but I've just never been in love with his performance. And I don't know why that is really. I guess because he's not as showy a performance as someone like Sean Penn or
no,
or Chase or Leo or Tayana even. Like all them, they are very showy, big performances, you know. And Benicio is just sort of a bit more of the sort of subtle, dry wit. But yeah, you know, Alana Haim, who gets killed very quickly,
yeah,
like very quickly. I love what this film does in that it portrays Tayana Taylor's character, Perfidia Beverly Hills, which the names are amazing, by the way. Can I just say that? Stephen
yeah,
Lockjaw. Fantastic. And I mean, Chase Infinity is like the coolest fucking name ever. Like, can we just like
it
we
is.
can all agree that Chase Infinity is like the coolest name ever. I like how it doesn't portray things as black and white. Like Perfidia, she is this revolutionary, but she's also a massive fucking hypocrite. Like she is a flawed
Yeah,
character. She's got her weird relationship with Sean Penn, and I mean he's a hypocrite because he's a Nazi, but he also like loves black women. Which, to be honest, that actually is pretty accurate to you know people who are racist are actually like into black women. You know, gross the fetishization. Um,
hmm
but he's a Nazi, so it's okay to make fun of Nazis. Perfidia isn't a black and white like she's just someone who she's a revolutionary, but she's a hypocrite, and she sells out her people, like she sells them
yeah,
out to avoid going to jail, and it's just like she's not like and
yeah,
that's the thing. And I really like that because it could have been so easily like just the revolutionaries are the good guys, they're flawless, because that's not true. That's not how people are. People are not flawless. It's very interesting. It's a very good choice. I like the choice. And yeah, it's a great film. It wouldn't be my favorite picture winner of the decade. I prefer Everything Everywhere, and I maybe prefer Nora.
I probably still prefer Everything Everywhere. I do like it more than Nora at this point.
Yeah, One Battle After Another. A wonderful, wonderful film. It flies by. It's like 2 hours 40 minutes. Didn't feel the runtime at all.
No.
It's really funny. Christmas Adventures is the best name for anything. It's so good. And there's that amazing moment where Sean Penn he has Willa, and he's taking her, and he's like, I'm gonna be a Christmas adventurer or whatever. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's so good. And then maybe my favorite line of any film of any film from last year. I believe she was a sperm thief, a semen demon,
Mhm.
and it was just
Yeah.
the best. It was the like I was in the cinema with my mate when we saw it, and he fucking lost it at that moment, and I'm like, this is so good. Like that alone makes this film great. One battle after another, I love it. I give it a 9 out of 10. My second favorite film of last year.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'll probably go with a 10 because I just have to put it among the all the other 10s the PTA has already.
And we move on to the final film, Marty Supreme. I have also seen this film twice. Once in 70mm because to lay my cards out immediately, this is not only is this my favorite film of the year, it's quite possibly my favorite film of the entire decade.
Yeah.
And I know people are going to, people are saying, "Oh, woes." Look, we talked about this already. Timothy Chalamet getting cancelled for what? He said people don't. There aren't as many people who go to the ballet and opera anymore, and he's dating a Kardashian. That's nothing. Like I don't like. This is just nothing. This is nothing. Like I don't have a problem with this. Like, yeah, he's dating a Kardashian. I don't
Yeah.
really see why that matters. It's not something that bothers me. I think people look. It's very parasocial people getting offended and getting upset over things that don't matter. And there's the whole, why is he winning for Marty Supreme when it came out like 2 weeks ago? And it's like because these people saw it early. That's how it works. Like industry people saw it early, and it's just yeah, I love this film. I think this film's fucking great. It's the best. Yeah, it's the film of the decade for me. I think.
I mean, I wouldn't go to film of the decade levels, but I do love this film a lot, a lot, a lot. It's probably my favorite of the lineup, which again says quite a bit because I've been very
It's
positive
yeah,
on a lot of
it's a very
these.
good. It's a very good lineup, and there's a good few films where if someone said this is their favorite one, I'd be like, yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Could one battle edge it out eventually? I mean, sure, definitely. But
Yeah,
I did see this 3 times in the theaters, so that's
yeah.
impressive.
Christmas. Did you see it on Christmas Day?
No, saw it on Christmas Eve the first time.
Okay. I mean, what a Christmas Day showing that would have been for people. Just that the opening title sequence, which look, it's silly, but I love it. It's so like I knew I'd heard about it going into it, uh, and I saw it with someone who didn't know that, and so they were just looking at the screen in almost like horror. They were like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I was like, "Yep." And there were several moments because when I saw it was in 70mm with a friend of mine. There were several moments where he leaned over to me and was like, "What the fuck?" There's the honey scene,
Yep.
which is very silly and arguably pointless, but I like it. It's really really weird, and I like it. So
Yeah,
I'm happy with it to be a weird. I mean, this is a truly a Safdie movie,
definitely.
and yeah, the Josh Safdie stuff not good. Really bad. Yeah, Timothy Chalamet. I've always been very skeptical. I think the last performance of his that I think is truly great was Call Me by Your Name. He deserved that Oscar, by the way. But I think Timothy is phenomenally good in this film. It's like it's one of the only times I've been like, yeah, he's actually really good and he really deserves that nomination. But look, and I just remembered we didn't even touch on this with Sinners, the whole Variety article trying to downplay how well Sinners was
Oh,
doing.
yeah.
And then they did one about Marty Supreme, and they were like, "Oh, Marty Supreme is doing so well," and it's like the budget is like the box office is really not that different. It's just like, look,
Yeah.
I don't want to say they were just doing it for Sinners because it's like, about black people and everything. I mean, it definitely looks that way, but I also think Sinners doing that well did intimidate studios. I think what Sinners represents for how well it did, and like Ryan Coogler with like the deals he made and everything, really is enough to sort of prove to studios that like, hey, you don't need to spend millions of dollars for a movie to do well. They spent like what 80, 90 million on Sinners. It did like
Yeah.
close to 400 million or whatever. And there were people that were like, "Oh, but Sinners should win because it made more money or whatever." And it's like, that's not how we judge things by. Like, if that's the logic we're running by, Lilo and
F1's
Stitch would be Best
winning.
Picture, and we don't want that. But I think that Marty Supreme, yeah, phenomenal performance from Timothy. That final moment where he's like crying at the end, some of the best acting in just like an individual scene. Like, I'm sorry, that's
Yeah.
better than anything Michael B. Jordan does in Sinners. Like, I'm
It's
sorry.
true.
And the ending's so great because I've talked to several people, sort of the interpretations of that ending, whether like, because I sort of look at as sort of it's a bit of a tragic end almost to the character, and some people look at it as more of a hopeful one, and I think, I mean, I think both work, but I definitely think the film is about this self-destruction, the self-destruction of this guy, in the vein of something like Whiplash, which is very much about the destruction of Miles Teller's character. And, well, the self-destruction, the path he goes down, it is his fault in Whiplash what happens to him. And all the bad things that happen to Marty in this film are his own fault.
Yeah.
And he's blacklisted basically from ping pong, from tournaments, because Marty is a pretty unlikable character, but he's an engaging protagonist, and you kind of want to see him do it at a certain point, but you also don't because of the destruction that's he's left in his path.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not just him. You've got Odessa Azion, who I don't get the hype for the performance. I went in, when I first sort of thought, yeah, she's good, and then she got like the SAG nomination, and people were going on about how great she is, and I saw the film again, and I was like, no, I'm missing. There's something I'm missing, and I like her. I think she's generally good. I've seen her in other things, and I think she's a good actor. I just wasn't particularly blown away by her in this. I did think Kevin O'Leary was unfortunately very good in this, but he is also playing himself, basically. So that's kind of unfortunate because he actually is very good in it. Tyler, the Creator, again, surprisingly a good actor. It's weird how many like musicians are, because A$AP Rocky was in Highest to Lowest and If I Had Legs I'd Kick You. We've got Travis Scott in The Odyssey. We've got Kendrick Lamar in the new Trey Parker film. Like, it's they're just getting all these like rappers who are starting to act.
Don't forget Bad Bunny was in the highly acclaimed Caught Stealing.
Caught Stealing, and Happy Gilmore too. But also Charlie XCX, obviously, as well, if we were going to go beyond like rap. I liked him here. I thought he was doing good. A lot of it, his dialogue just felt like they were just riffing, like they just let him just improvise. You've got the guy who loses his dog.
Who's a very famous, well, not very famous, but a cult director from the 80s.
There's the scene where he's, and I did think, I'm like, is Marty going to die in this? Like, that's sort of a thought I had. Because there's, the scene where they're at the house, and I'm like, and there's those bits where the guys are like looking through the window, they're like leaning their head in, and I'm like, someone's about to get shot. There's no way one of them doesn't get their heads blown off. And then that happens. Yeah, but I think Marty dying wouldn't have worked. I do think that would have been, I think the film ending with him, because he makes sort of the mature adult decision. He steps up as a father. You could read that ending as like either he's, just overwhelmed with overwhelmed by emotion, or he's destroyed his life basically, and now he has to do this. which I think is a very interesting way to look at it and an interesting thing to go into. But yeah, Amadi Supreme, I love it. I love how claustrophobic the film is, especially with the cinematography, just the
Mhm.
close up angles, characters like talking over each other, the fast choppy editing. I think it's great. It is truly a Safdie film. It is truly a Safdie
Definitely.
brothers film. The ping pong is actually interesting in terms of like how it's shot and
Yeah.
everything. Which again, I don't really care about ping pong. Although I will say, as a sport, I kind of respect that about ping pong because, like, having seen ping pong matches, they are actually kind of insane. So I can respect. I love it to pieces. It's yeah, I think it is my film of the decade. Um, certainly my film of last year.
Yeah, it's just endless vibes off the charts.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to say that, like, it probably has my favorite score of the year, and it's ridiculous
Mm.
that it was not nominated.
I did like the music in it as well. Yeah.
I mean, I don't have much else to say. Timothy is extremely good in it. I
Mm.
do it's very much a Safdie film, but I appreciate and I'm not the first person to say this, but, like, Marty Mauser not that it's hard for him to achieve this, but he's definitely while very flawed and insufferable and very, mm, very much mistreats those around him, he's definitely, like, the most redeemable Safdie lead character
Yeah, I don't
we've
think he's.
seen.
Uh,
He's not a monster. He's
yeah,
just,
I
like,
think.
very obsessed and
Yeah,
misguided,
that's the
and
thing. Like Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems is very much like a. He's almost a con artist almost in that.
yeah, yeah, and
And
Robert Pattinson in Good Times just, like, evil.
yeah. Um, so I think the film does a good job of having that balance of Marty being a bit of an unlikable character, but you also do kind of root for him and he is still engaging. Because sometimes films do a bad job of like they give you an unlikable character and then it's not an interesting story to follow. And I would argue the work Timothy is doing here is better than the work Michael B. Jordan is doing.
Mhm.
Like yeah, cool, Michael Jordan, he's playing two roles and everything, but like the actual acting isn't that different. Like, and people are like, oh, Timothy Burr's shit, and Michael played two roles and he did all these subtle things. It's like, yeah, but Timothy made an incredibly unlikable character, an engaging character. And I'm gonna be honest, I think Marty Mauser is kind of just Timothy Chalamet turned up to 11, but which, I think most good actors they just play themselves, dialed up or down. But yeah, I love Marty Supreme. I wish it. Honestly, the only thing I was fairly certain it would win for a while was Timothy, and now I'm not even sure if that's a guarantee, which is a shame because my favorite film of last year, Nora, won five Oscars, won five Oscars. So it's a bit of a step down this year, but hey, I really, really loved it. I give it 10 out of 10,
I'll
and
go with
it's
a 10 as well. We ended
oof,
on a high
we
note.
ended on a high note, which was good. I was very pleased about that. The only other film from this decade that I have is a 10 out of 10 is Puss in Boots 2. And I
Wonderful.
don't care because it's a great movie and
Also, the
it's a cat.
Wagner Moura again.
But yeah, that is the full Oscar special. This has been 3 hours now, so did not get to keep it under three like I wanted to. Hopefully, I can edit it down to under three. I think I probably can. Quickly before we wrap up, my rankings of the lineup this year. If you want to get yours, figure what yours at is as well. Scarlett, while I go through mine
Okay.
quickly. So the bottom F1, it's not good. Then Secret Agent, Train Dreams, Hamnet, Sentimental Value, and then this top five. This is a really strong top five: Sinners, Begonia, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Marty Supreme.
Yeah, it would be very high up for me. Okay, so I can do mine. So yeah, F1 at the bottom, controversially, then Frankenstein, but I do like it. F1's the only bad one, and
Mm.
then probably Train Dreams, Begonia, Sinners, Hamnet, Sentimental Value, The Secret Agent, One Battle After Another, and Marty Supreme.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, very, very good lineups. Now, to just quickly touch on a couple things. Best animated feature, I've seen 4 out of the 5 nominees. I haven't seen Arco yet. That's the last one I haven't seen, but I've seen the others. I mean, K-pop Demon Hunters, not a fan. Don't like it that much. It is for me, it's a baby movie for babies, and I don't like that. That this is the
True.
what we're rewarding, because Zootopia 2 is just like so much better written. It's funnier. It's interesting. It's actually got something really like interesting to say for an animated film. K-pop Demon Hunters is like, hey, what if we take these demons that were real people and we just throw them into the void?
It's not
It,
that great.
no. Elio is just what Pixar does now, in that it's very disposable, and I've heard Hoppers is apparently very good. And Little Amelie, or the character of Rain, wasn't too big on it either. I think a lot of people like it because it's foreign, which is reductive of me to say, arguably, but also it's just like it's very trying and very much like this is the foreign film that like every year the Oscars like we don't nominate a foreign film here even if it's not actually that good, because we need to get a foreign film in there. Although Persepolis, that's a very good one. That was a good nomination. I would love it to be Zootopia 2, but it's going to be K-pop Demon Hunters
Yeah.
which
I
just sucks
mean,
because I've not been impressed. Like because last year was Flow. I know people love Flow, but I don't. And then also just international, because I've seen 4 out of 5 of these. I haven't seen Surat, but I've seen It Was Just an Accident. Great film. Should have been nominated. Loved it. Deserved nomination. I'd give It Was Just an Accident an 8 out of 10, by the way, just because, I really liked it, and it didn't get nominated.
sad.
And then, yeah, Secret Agent. We talked about Cinema Value. We talked about Surat. I haven't seen Surat. I don't know if you have.
I have. I don't like it a lot. I'm a bit saddened that it made it in, and I feel like it only got in because Europeans just like vote for their own movies. It has a cool score and sound design and cinematography. Like technically, it's well done and
I've
it's
heard,
very
yeah, I've
menacing.
heard people saying
It's
that. Yeah.
it's very menacing and foreboding. And there's like something that happens at like the halfway mark, and then from then on, it's just like a very disturbing, upsetting movie.
Mm,
Not in a bad or good way. Like it's effectively disturbing, but then it feels very hollow in terms of the characters, and the theme seems very
mm,
straightforward, and then it ends and it like becomes very diminishing returns. Like after the initial shock value, it's like
mm,
repeating the same tricks over and over. It's like okay, I preferred when we were like actually learning things about the characters and they weren't just like suffering. I give Serrata 6, and then X, the voice of Hind Rajab, great
yeah.
film, very
I
powerful.
I'm very conflicted on Voice of Hind Rajab. I'm gonna phrase this delicately because this is a very hot button issue. What is happening in Gaza and in Palestine is horrific. I just think, I don't know, making a film about like a because I know it's like based off of real life and everything. So it's not like a documentary, but it's like fictionalized isn't quite the word. A dramatized version of what happened. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah,
And
I,
look, maybe it's probably just me because a lot of people seem to love the film, and in the sense of like it's like a good, well-made film, not in that like it's a very unpleasant film to watch. It's just that for me, I don't know. I like look, and I'm aware that the family, they got permission from the family to tell the story, and so I completely, that's good. It's just that, yeah, I don't know how to feel about it because
Mhm.
it's like yeah, it's a very unpleasant film to watch. It's very uncomfortable, and despite what the IDF and Netanyahu, it was a murder. It was not justified. It was a 5-year-old girl who was murdered, and it is a disgrace. And Netanyahu should be charged with war crimes. Yeah, I just don't know how I feel about it on like just the level of yeah, I just don't know how I feel about it on like an ethical level. But like
Mhm.
that is just me, and I can see why people what people get from the film. It's just like
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand reservations about it in general and in a vacuum. For me, I was just like, okay, well, if the family gave permission and like actively wants this to be made to like spread the word of what happened, then I can feel okay like watching this dramatized version of something that happened very recently. Um, but yes, as a film, separate from that, it's just very obviously
mm,
tragic but powerful. And I'm glad that it is, people have watched it, it's nominated, it's getting that attention because it's
yeah.
good ultimately. But yeah, and then Accident, I gave a 9, and I prefer it to Sentimental Value, but
Accident
not
would be
as
my
much as The
personal
Secret Agent, probably.
yeah. Accident would be my personal choice for anime for international. But yeah, yeah, it was just an accident. I give it an 8. I haven't seen Surat, and Voice of Hindra Job I would give a 6, which is perhaps
I
harsh, but
Yeah, I'd
I
probably go about an 8 on Hydra Job, but it's such a hard film to like
yeah,
rate
it's like it's
to
hard.
apply a
How
number
can
to.
you yeah. And
Yeah.
just quickly for the animated films, sorry, did you see Arco or
Yeah, I've seen all of the nominees. I'm truthfully just like so lacking in passion for most of them. I give K-pop a 5, Elio a 5. They just like kind of exist as like disposable kids movies. Arco and Little Amelie, I give them both 6s, honestly. I think they're cute movies. They do have some of those Ghibli vibes, but they just are very simplistic and straightforward in ways that I don't feel incredibly moved by. Zootopia is my favorite one. It is like a really fun movie, actually, and I give it a 7.
to just quickly, yes, I haven't seen Arco. Elio, I give a 7. K-pop Demon Hunters, I give a 6. Little Amelie, I also give a 6, and Zootopia 2, I give an 8. So yeah, that's where it is for me. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for listening. It's again, these Oscar specials, they're always really long, but that's to be expected. We talk about 10 films here. I mean, the Scream episode we did went for ages, and that was 6 films. So, but yeah, thank you, Skylar, for joining me for this week.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you all for listening. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.